What is going on, Arkansas Razorback fans and SEC fans everywhere? Welcome. This is the Pig Trail Network. I am, of course, Tyzilla83, and I want to thank you so much, as I always like to do at the beginning of all these videos. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, and if you would, at the end of the video, like, comment, share the content that you've watched. Of course, if you haven't already, feel free to tap that wonderfully awesome SEC Woo Pig Suey subscribe button down below. So, it is still a possibility that Jalen Barford and Daryl Macon could forego their senior seasons and take a shot at the NBA draft. What they're going to do, though, a lot of players do this, they're going to try this without agents. So, in doing so, what that means is they'll be able to come back. The NCAA would allow these two to come back and play their senior seasons as long as they don't hire an agent. Obviously, if they hire an agent, it's game over, but we've seen Razorbacks do this before in the past. Players do it all the time. It is. I think a lot of fans are in panic mode, probably for a good reason. We did see, after all, in its final days, or just days leading up to the draft, Michael Qualls declare for the draft just a couple of years ago. So I kind of understand where that fear is coming from. But also remember, just last year, Moses Kingsley, similar circumstances, he came back. And it's also very similar that he came back to a class that he knew was going to be much better. You're going to get guys back with some experience, hopefully without arrest records this time. And then also you considering the JUCO kids that were coming in. He knew that what was coming could be potentially big for the Razorbacks if he came back. It's the same thing with these two guys, with Daryl Macon and with Jalen Barford. If they come back, I think it would be hard to argue that they're any worse than top 4, top 3 in the SEC next year. I know Kentucky's still going to be strong. Florida will probably still be just as strong. South Carolina, we're not really sure about, but I feel pretty good that if those guys came back, I wouldn't hesitate to put them just right now, with what little lack of research I've done for the next season of college basketball and for the SEC. I still feel pretty comfortable in saying they'd probably be a top 3, top 4 team in the SEC. And with the way the SEC has played this last season, that's a good thing, because now I think other conferences are starting to take the SEC a little bit more seriously. You saw how well they did in the tournament. A lot of people arguing that Arkansas probably kind of got, screwed at the end of that North Carolina game and what could have happened there. Obviously, we saw North Carolina go on and win a national championship. I'm not implying that Arkansas would have gone and won a national championship, but still, they played possession for possession against North Carolina. So imagine if this team comes back. Obviously, you don't have Dusty Hannes and you don't have Moses Kingsley, but you would have these two guys back. You'd have a pretty good recruiting class coming in, and the combination of the two, you'd feel pretty good about next season. And a team that went toe-to-toe with North Carolina. Again, I know, 2 big names missing, but the possibility of 2 big names in Daryl Macon and Barford coming back would be just huge. Now, if they don't come back, it could be devastating for the Razorbacks. I would even argue that without those 2 coming back next year, I don't know where I'd put them. I wouldn't feel as confident. I'll tell you that much. This is what it would look like if Macon and Barford were to return. Obviously, you'd have probably Trey Thompson, Dustin Thomas inside your 2 bigs, Anton Beard, Jalen Barford, and Daryl Macon playing with 3 guards. Your bench would be Bailey. More than likely, Gafford would start on the bench, but could work his way in onto the court. Gafford's going to be exciting to watch, I think. C.J. Jones, Hall, Garland, Cook, Glasper, and Hazen on the bench. 8 guys on the bench. 2 or 3 of the guys you feel like have potential and have pretty high ceilings, especially C.J. Jones, in my opinion. He's kind of a guy, when he was on the court at times, he looked pretty impressive, but obviously had to, lost the battle on the court in terms of minutes. But obviously Gafford is another guy who has a lot of people believe has a really high ceiling. I'm one of them. I think Gafford's going to be pretty special. This is what you're looking like, more than likely. Obviously, you're going to switch some things up with who's on the court in terms of your, guards versus forwards. But I think you'd have Trey Thompson, Dustin Thomas, Bailey, C.J. Jones, and Anton Beard would be on the court. That'd be your starting 5. And then you'd only have 6 on the bench with Gafford, Hall, Garland, Cook, Glasper, and Hazen. To me, that kind of goes without saying. I don't feel as confident putting them anywhere near the top 5 in the SEC. It probably takes Arkansas out of any any short list to make the tournament coming out of the conference if those two leave. So, again, it's a big deal. Whatever decision they make could really make or break next season. That is unfortunate, but there's not a lot of teams who could lose their two guys with the amount of production like this. I mean, you look at Barford, who put in 914 minutes last year. 914 minutes. That's Barford. Daryl Macon with 908. Now, when you look at points per game, it's a little skewed. We got to remember that, Barford did have times where he kind of hit a cold streak, and Daryl Macon was on the bench quite a bit, but they both averaged around 13 points a game. Macon was at almost 13.5 points per game. Barford's right at about 13 points a game. Very essential that these two guys come back. I think they both come back, but I've been wrong before. I thought Moses Kingsley was gone last year, and I felt like Qualls was going to come back when, of course, he left. So I'm 0 for 2 in that category. So I feel like they're going to come back, but only God knows right now. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. Remember to like, comment, share the content that you just watched, and tap the subscribe button if you haven't already. Obviously, when they make their decision, I'll probably have a video out on it. So keep an eye out for that. All right, till the next video.